That's it. Okay. These are when we are getting into the final exams. Before they conduct the pre-final. Because in order to get the knowledge, in order to improve in the final exams, to get the good score, right? In the same way, the pilot survey is nothing but it is a preliminary study. Before going to the large research project, if we are doing the large research project, then in order to get the improved performance of large scale design and accurate results, and what are the reasons that we have given, in order to get this for the large scale study, we do pilot survey before going to the large research design. Hope I hope you understood why we need the pilot survey. It is important because before going to the large scale design, we need to identify the potential problems that we face so that we are able to make the changes before going to the final exam, so that we get more knowledge about how to write the answer sheet or how to express, so that we identify and we make some changes in our study, then we will go to the final exams. So by that we will get the good result. So this is what a pilot survey. So that's why the pilot survey is most important in order to get a better results and the accuracy, efficiency, whatever the reasons I have written here, that will be helpful for the large research design. So that this is what a pilot survey. And I will give you an example. The example may be a politician who want to initiate a program of new recycling program. A politician want to conduct how we can recycle the plastic materials and how often the households or household activities are doing in our homes. Let us see what are the materials we will use for the recycling, and what material can be recycled and what material cannot be recycled. In order to conduct this program for the large number of households, the whatever the politician who is conducting, they will conduct a pilot study, so that whenever a politician conducts a pilot study, he knows what are the problems that are going to come when they initiate this program to the large number of households, so that he will make the changes in the question. Like he conduct survey to the household cities. So he will make the questionnaire like how often you are doing the recycling and what are materials you are using, and single stream recycling, which is nothing but if once we recycle the product, we cannot make it once again. It can only be recycled once. So these are the questions he will make for the question. Then he will go to the household cities. This is pilot study, so he will take only a few sample of data. Let us take it as 50. So he will conduct these questions, or whatever the study, whatever the questionnaire he had, he will ask them, and whatever the answers that they get, he will take the feedbacks from them. And he will ask the respondent, how are you feeling about the questions? Were you able to understand my question? Or will I need to make any changes in framing the question? What is the flow of the question? How it is, whether it is clear to you, or whether I need to add some more questions about it. So that whether he will take the feedbacks of all those, and he will make the refinement of questionnaire model. So this is what a pilot study. It tells about the overall feasibility. Here feasibility is nothing but whatever the process that we have done, whether it is logically, ethically, economically, technically, whether it is going good or not. whatever the steps I have followed. First, I collected the data. I made the question and I asked the questions to them. Whether the questions are in a logical framework. It is very needed in questionnaire making. Like we need to have some order. If we are asking for the email ID, then we need to ask the name, then class, then rule number ID. The question should be in order, in a logical order. So and ethical. When we are taking the sensitive data from there, we need to make sure that the data is privatized. And economical. When I'm researching that, when I'm doing the research, it needs some budget, right? Whether I can able to spend the budget or not. What is my budget according to it, and what more I needed. And this technical. When it comes to technically, if you are sending the questionnaire in online, some maybe we might have technical issues. When we open, it might go to the another website or something else. So we need to check for all these types of feasibility and let us know whether the process that we are following giving the accurate result or not. If it is not giving, what are the changes I need to make so that whenever I go to the large scale, so that I get the accurate result. And now let us go into the pilot survey. This pilot survey is nothing but it is a specific type. Specific type is nothing but it only focuses on the instrument, the testing of the questionnaire. I am sending the questionnaire to you, or a survey instrument. I am making the interviews. What is testing of interview? It is nothing but testing of interview, testing of questionnaire. It only focuses on how the survey questionnaire or interviews or focus groups or experiments. It only tests over the instruments. This is what a pilot study. And I hope it is clear about a pilot study and pilot study. And now let us go into processing of pilot study. Survey data. Whatever the Ramya is explained, it is of a plan. Before going to any survey, we need to plan accordingly. So that whatever, if the planning is good or the building or the foundation is good, then whatever the process or results that we are getting, that will be accurate. If the planning and processing is not going well, then the results will not be accurate and clear. So in processing of survey data, we have, I mean, 6 steps. First is data collection. In data collection, we have 2 types. That is primary data and secondary data. And primary data is nothing but the data is collected for the first time. So it includes interviews, focus groups, and in secondary data we can take databases, external resources. And whenever you come to the primary data, interviews or focus groups, it will take a lot of time. It is time consuming and you need a budget for it. It will cost much. So that whatever the problem statement we have or objectives, according to that we need to select the data. Whether I need a primary data or a secondary data. And in primary data, there is an advantage that if you are interested in variable, so that you can collect those interested variable because you are only collecting for the first time. But whenever you have the secondary data, it is of databases. So whatever the data that is collected, that you are taking. So that whatever variable you are interested, you cannot, that may not be available. So, but in secondary data, there is an advantage that you can easily access the databases and it will not cost you much. This is about the data collection and data preparation. In data preparation, whatever the data you collected, and you need to check whether the data will be suitable for our objective or not, whether it can be give accurate result, whether it is enough or sufficient. You need to check for the data preparation. And here it includes data validation, data validation and data transfer. As the example given by Ramya, one student is filling up the form with the same email ID. So you need to validate the data, whether they are giving the correct information or not. First, suppose when you log in into any website or something, first they will ask you your email ID, right? When you type your email ID, it does not contain a numeric number or a capital number, uppercase or a lowercase. It will give you. It will not accept you to log in into the website, right? This is what a data validation is. You need to restrict the user to give the valid input. This is what the data validation, and data condition is nothing but you are instructing the user to give the valid data, which is nothing but the rules or regulations. And the next process is data cleaning. Here in the data cleaning, whenever you get the data, you need to transform it into a representable form so that you can do the analysis part. With the raw data, you cannot do the analysis part. So the data cleaning includes handling missing values, removing null values. And removing null values, we have three types. If there are null values here, then directly you can replace it as empty. Or else there is another method, you can replace this null value with a mean value if a data is normally distributed. If it is non-normal, then you can use the mean. And sometimes if you see in a table, this is, we can take age or age. And this age column should have all the observations of age column should be of same data type. It should not contain, if we have the first record, it should be in integer form. If it is in integer form, then all the observations, this total column should have the same data type. You need to ensure that each column has a specific data type. And you have a date column here. In date column, your date record will be like this. Sometimes it is not in a format of this format, date, month and year. So you need to change in this format. It can be in a number form. If you see in Excel sheets, this will be in a number form. So you need to make sure that you will change to date, month and year. If the data is not sufficient, you will take from the multiple sources or external sources. We can call it as, we can take the data from tally.com, gov.com. And whenever we are merging the multiple data sets, in the other data set, the format will not be the same. The format may be like this, month, date and year. So you need to make sure that you will change whatever the data you have merged, that will be the same data. And there is an important one. And if you have the data imbalanced, which is nothing but you have, let us say 70 or 80% of data, that is the positive one, and 20% of data, it is a negative one. then which is nothing but if you have 80% of positive ones, then the results may be they are likely to show that as the probability says if the positive is 80%, then it will show only the positive one. And the negative is 20%, they are more likely to show that they cannot be able to identify the negative ones. So you need to make sure that if data is imbalanced, you need to use some techniques. Like small technique.
The 80%, 20%. Not a fixed 80%, 20%. We may take 70 and 30% also. Why? Because suppose 80% data we can collect, so that is a training data. So testing comparatively 20%. Okay. So the ratio can be divided into according to our data. Okay. The most probably we can divide the 80 20%. Or 70 30% also we have to do in the research area. Okay. So that will be called as training and testing. Okay. Training data and testing data.
Actually, I was explaining in training data also, if we had total amount of data, if more amount of data is a positive one, if less amount of is a negative one, then it cannot be able to identify the negative ones.
Yeah.
It has more train, it becomes the overfitting.
Overfitting here. Small.
Yeah. Yes. And you can use a small technique. This is nothing but wherever the minority classes are there, it will resample the data so that it will make the data in a balanced way. If we are using this mode technique, then it will.
So SMOD means S stands for, M stands for, O stands for
Synthetic minority. Synthetic minority oversampling technique.
So SMOD is always used for oversampling techniques only. It is a comparatively positive observation. The negativity is dominated. When the negative observations are dominated to the positive observations, in that case we have to use SMOD techniques.
And these are the techniques you can use. If a data is more, if number of variables is numerous, then you can use the reduction techniques like principal component analysis, factor analysis, and multi-dimensional scale. And this is called data. And once the data is given, then you need to analyze the data. And in analyzation of data, we have two types of statistics. That is descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics is used for summarizing your data, and inferential statistics is used for making conclusions or hypotheses. You can use the null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, ANOVA, and whatever you think that our objectives can give the accurate results. According to that, you need to select the statistics. And this is what the data analysis. Then once the data analysis is completed, then you will go to the data visualization, which is nothing but the pie chart, histogram, bar chart, scatter plot, and whatever the visualization charts we. Then once the data visualization is completed, then we will go into the reports. And whatever the process that we have done in the report, which has whatever the techniques that have used in data collection. For example, if we take I have used the primary data, then in data preparation, what the technique that I have used, and how I remove the null hypothesis, how I reduce the damage. All the summary of the data will be seen in the reports. And in the visualization, you can also add ROC charts, which is nothing but research operating. I don't know. Yeah. This will
Research.
ROC.
Research operational charge.
Operating analysis.
This will give you whether how your analysis or a model is performed. Whether in this ROC we have two types, And in x-axis you have true positive rate, and in y-axis you have false positive rate. Sorry. This is true positive rate and this is false positive rate. If your curve is like this, then this shear model is performing well.
S-shaped curve. I was associating S-shaped curve. Okay. Like the increasing model. Okay. True positive, false positive is indicating confusion matrix.
Yes.
Okay. So the baseline, true positive, false positive, we will make confusion matrix.
Yes. This is then take the false positive
Yeah, we
rate.
use the baseline confusion.
And this is how you can process the surveys. And then